prepare. Now, this book here is, I'm going to read you some articles out of this one. This is talking about the North American Indians and how they was basically their own physicians and things, but also you're going to hear about how when the white man showed up, that disease also happened. So this is one of them. It's first Americans were their own physicians. It says civilization has taught us to build empires for life insurance companies, numerous research, welfare, old age organizations, etc. In comparison, the Indians' protection came from nature. You hear that? From nature. The Mother Earth being the most important. They learned to treat lives with plants, healing medicines and stuff with plants. The medicine from the earth. You hear that? Earth, from the earth. After the white man came, they were suddenly induced to a new way of life, which brought them the white man's diseases for which they had built no immunity. They wasn't exposed to these diseases that came from overseas, the smallpox and the measles and countless diseases. So it did affect them. And thousands died. Self-sufficiently was destroyed as the Indians became dependent on civilized ways. Sad truth, many of them forgot how to use many of their natural medicines as they become more civilized and dependent on the white man's ways, unfortunately. If we talk to Indians, the years have touched gradually. They will remember a few of the family and tribal herbs that we think of as nothing but a troublesome, insignificant weed or shrub. To most of us, trees are for beauty alone, but they bring our medical uses from experience we have yet to identify as the same. We lost many wonderful knowledge when, as we change, unfortunately. The Indians lost many of their knowledge because white men in other countries who also depended on the land at one time, their own culture lost many of their knowledge and they become more civilized. As we become more civilized, we forget where we are at and from what we are from. The Indians was never at loss to know which plant was best or the time it should be gathered to heal them of diseases. They knew how to treat their complaints of physical, surgical, and midwifery with a skill that suppressed the medical teachings. Ain't that something? That's awesome. For internal and local treatments, they used the sources of nature, experienced by a keen sense of knowledge. Local parts was treated by placing parts affected over the roasting pit after being placed in rye grass and earth and subject to almost unbearable heat for as long as possible. They used vapor baths for many ailments. Patients were put into sweat lodges of almost stifling almost immense heat to eliminate toxic conditions. Fractured bones were healed in splints made of a number of rods tied together at the end and covered with leaves and bound with deerskin. Herb roots were pounded fine and used as a potpourri for bad cuts and sprains. Sore eyes was treated with a wash consisting of infusion of certain roots. Our cocaine and novocaine came from ingredients found in cocoa plants. The nature healing used to alleviate pain in this way, the original Americans were their own physicians. Sickness of civilization like the plague, tuberculosis, typhoid, cancer, ulcers, heart, and mental disease were uncommon among their earlier communities. Do you know we spend millions of dollars for weed control with booklets describing the various plants and how to destroy them? If we were educated as how to use them medically, we could help ourselves physically as well as tax-wise. We can thoughtlessly ignore our heritage, but we should not deny its life-giving truths. I said that's the fact is, there's people out there, and I got a special one in my life now who does not believe in the herbs, and I take these herbs all the time. I take a variety of them, and I change out on them. Garlic, of course, is great for my blood pressure and things in that area. But unfortunately, many people has gotten so used to going down to the store and buying everything they need that if a situation does occur and we have to go back to depending on nature, We have things all around us, and the Indians was very knowledgeable, and I respect their ancient cultures. I respect the knowledge they had acquired and developed over the centuries. They was very well educated people, and it's a shame, and it happens. It's happened all around the world. It's not just it didn't just happen here in the United States. It's happened everywhere where civilization has approached in with the modern technologies and things, and many of the cultures has forgotten and lost many of the knowledge on how to use what is off the land. So it is sad. That's just how it is in real life, unfortunately. I respect the Indians' culture very much, and there's so much we can learn from them. There's many of them that still practices the old ways. They are very knowledgeable. They're very survivable. And getting back to nature is very good and positive technology. And I'm not an expert. I'm still learning every day. I'm sharing these information with you in hopes that maybe you might learn just a handful of things, just five basic plants that may make a difference in your life in any kind of situation. So this is Life Prepper here. I want you to be safe, be happy, bless you all, and bless all the Indian cultures in the past for all the wonderful knowledge that you carried with you, and hopefully it was passed on down to generations.